Hello, everyone. This is my video on the Technoskeptical investigation, and we're talking about computers and their technology and how they have advancing, particularly the generative AI. They're becoming smarter than humans. Are we dumbing down? Computers are only limited by our imaginations, but how limited is our imagination if we're not expanding our minds and we're depending on computers? Generative AI creates new original content, and the new LLM can communicate using normal human language. The Chat GPT models communicate together with humans to solve problems. Will humans begin to depend on computers to solve their problems and not use the computer that God gave us, our brains? Computer models are becoming more advanced. Humans are teaching the computers to become more human, and the computers are advancing and learning on their own as well. How many years will it be before humans advance themselves out of existence? In our reading, it says most humans are either in denial or panic mode over technological advances. It states we should stay in the middle and remain positive and try to use AI to our advantage. Our technology is only limited by our imagination and our prompting skills. How can we improve our prompting skills? By learning to understand how the AI processes information and to how to best instruct their learning. There are many different types of AIs that was covered in our resources. There's narrow AI, which completes specific tasks and functions, reactive AI, which responds to specific AI, generative AI, deep learning and neural networks. It generates new content based on previous input. It can also be integrated with other systems. Neural network computational models are inspired by the structure and function of the human brain. Language learning models, LLMs, have been developed to understand human language. Transformer models use a process called self-attention, which uses mathematical calculation to weigh the importance of words in text. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformers. There's the BERT, which stands for Bidirectional Encoders, which represent from transformers. There's AI image generation, for instance, the DELLE and Adobe Firefly. They use the neural networks to create visual tasks using prompts. The ChatBET and AI primarily interfaces, and the list goes on. There are so many different kinds of AI, and it is continuing to expand every day. How much further in just a few years will it grow? How will it continue, and how much further and deeper will AI go to try to understand our lives and learn how to digitalize our consciousness? How are we going to learn to work with this technology, to learn how to improve the instructions we give to help the AI learn to accomplish the task we need it to? In mapping the mind of a large language model, it discusses trying to figure out the AI's language, making sense of the numbers. Some believe that understanding how they process information will make them safer. But is this really true? How can we really understand this process? Their thoughts or information are developed from input from multiple humans. Their text and prompts are how they are learning to process this information or how they think. Would there be any way to understand the many patterns that are there for humans to follow? In Gender Shades, it discusses how it has been discovered that AI is biased against dark skin and female genders. And in other resources, we learned that it is also class biased. How does that determine responses from AI? It is a threat to our freedom, the inability for the computer to correctly place them in their proper perspective. It is becoming a dangerous situation for our world. In the study, Implicit Bias in LLM Experimental Proofs and Implications for Education, it gave empirical evidence that not only is generative AI racial gender biased, but also social class, as when they grade achievement tests, they grade according to those biases. In the UK, they are said to have 91% of AI identified persons at a 91% rate of inaccurate response. That is close to 100% failure of identification. And yet they continue to use it to identify criminals. In China, their whole society is controlled by AI and computer technology. It is used to control its citizens. Many schools use a brainwave technology tool that allows teachers to tell if the student is staying focused. A light on the headband shows different colored lights showing their focus level. The parents are in agreement to this tool, and that controls their students' abilities. This process does not teach the student to control their focus themselves, but they become dependent on the machine to help them maintain focus. They do not learn the skills of self control that is so important in becoming an adult and being able to be a productive member of society. These children have to learn this on their own, or they will continually struggle with their thinking processes. I feel like this is a negative product of this type of AI technology. Allowing technology to assist us is one thing, but to allow it to control us is another thing entirely. Our resources discussed how it has become a problem for students using LLM to help them with their writing skills. In this process, many children can lose their self confidence. They feel the AI can write better than they do. Writing is a skill, and like all other skills, it must be developed and strengthened over time with lots of practice. They could also go the other way and not be as critical of their work as they should be because they don't have the skills they need to accomplish this task. It has also enabled students to cheat on tests and assessments. AI generative tools have increased in replacing humans on many jobs. This increase profits for the employers and companies by eliminating the need for payroll and employee benefits. How can AI be trusted with these jobs? Should we be more cautious using these tools? Should we continue accepting their use without question, their purpose and abilities? Questioning their purpose and abilities. I feel we should proceed with caution. AI are not being controlled by emotion, but by logic, which could be a good or a bad thing. There's also many that are concerned about the ethics of constant surveillance. Do we have the trust and transparency we need when the world is becoming controlled by AI? AI that can be controlled by the prompts and suggestions of humans that control the training of these AI tools. These AI tools can undermine original creative abilities. That is so very important to humanity. We begin to question the authenticity, truth, and what it means to be human. These points that were made in our resources that makes me thoughtfully consider how this generative AI technology is being used. There's a price to be paid for technology. With technology, there are always winners and losers. The medium is the message. Why has the tech boom not happened as many predicted? Why has all this new technology not been well accepted? When we integrate the AI into our education system, we should teach our students to study AI tools and their functions critically. Educators should be aware of technologies and how they are advancing, including generative AI. We should be able to use and critically assess AI tools for teaching and education. We should be concerned about the ethics of allowing generative AI to have so much control in our society. Since the discovery of the gender and racial bias, and also the class bias that has been displayed by these AI tools, we should really be concerned about equal access for all of our students when using these technologies. Should we be more cautious as we incorporate these technologies into our education system? I think so. We shall be prepared as educators, or we should be prepared as educators. AI will be used in our educational future. That is for sure. We must be ready to help keep balance between using AI to benefit our educational processes while encouraging the abilities of ourselves and our students, critical thinking skills, and human creativity. We must keep our pedagogical approach as a human centered philosophy to maintain our humanity. Thank you.